First up for open forum tonight, we have a request from Grace Snyder-Kubika, brush pickup and public officials. We just respectfully, you know the drill, Grace.
I know the drill.
You know the drill.
My name is Grace Snyder-Kubika. I live at 61st in Fairview. Tonight I speak to you as a resident citizen of this town, of this village, excuse me. It's a village, and it's a very nice village. I've been reading a lot of articles in various papers about this brush pickup and the complaining that we can't afford to do this anymore, we must tax people. But nowhere in those articles did I see that it was only 5,000 single-family homes that are being affected. Because you don't pick up brush for me, I'm a landlord. You don't pick them up for the condominium owners. You don't pick them up for the townhouse owners. So we're talking about 5,000 single-family homes. Why do we not have enough money to do that? Why do we have to have them buy more stickers and put stickers on their branches? Have you ever tried to put a branch or a log in a leaf bag? I don't think that works too well. At any rate, last year bought a brand new 4-seater beautiful truck for $840,000 or $940,000, 4-seater to do that. You already had one, older no doubt, and a 2-seater, older no doubt. So you have the equipment, you have the people. Was this just an easy way to tax the single-family homeowners that are already being taxed hard enough? I mean, I'm getting hit with taxes too, but when they got hit with the big tax, the big property tax, the landlords could spread it out. The single-family homeowners had to dig deep into their pockets or put off buying a car or whatever else they wanted to do, a vacation, whatever. Which leads right into the whole idea. I would really like you to look at your budget again. The reason I ask is you are public officials, duly elected public officials. In my civics class, so many years ago, I'm not going to tell you how many, I understood that public officials are public servants. Public servants serve their constituency, the people in the village or town that they live in. Would it not be serving the people's interest to not be taxing them to death? And these single-family homeowners could use a break too. I urge you to look into your budget and figure something out. I am sure you can.
Grace, thank you for coming in and thank you for your comments. I'll make just one comment. There is no new tax that has anything to do with brush pickup. And I will put out an open invitation to every single resident of Westmont to please come to our budget meetings. This is not our budget. This is your budget. So the first budget meeting, I believe, will be announced tonight, and I encourage everyone to take an active interest in your community and see where this money is going and see what money is coming in. So thank you for your comments, and hope to see you at the budget meeting. Thanks, Grace.
I'll try and make it, but
thank you.
Excuse me, it is a tax because they have to buy a sticker. That's an extra tax.
No, ma'am.
No, that's not a tax.
That is the garbage part of the program.
Oh, it's not considered a
That is the garbage part of
tax?
the program. That is not a tax.
Oh,
That
it's
goes to
just
waste
considered an
management.
extra way to make money.
No, we
Okay.
make no money on that whatsoever. That is waste management's charge, not ours.
That is not new either.
That's not our fee.
That has been in place for a long time.
I thought that was,
No, ma'am.
wait a minute.
ma'am.
Our people pick up the brush, don't they? The brush
Used
and the
to,
leaves?
yes.
They used to, yes.
They used to, yes,
Well, why
ma'am.
did we buy that truck then? To do that stuff?
Grace, I suggest you come to our meeting and you'll learn an awful lot. And
Or
thank you for having an
Grace,
interest.
I'd be happy to have an individual conversation with you and try to sort this out, because
This
I
is
can
just
explain it to
not
you a little bit better.
comprehensible. Something's not right.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And feel free to call us so you'll be prepared with
You
your
want me to
questions.
call you
and you'll-
tomorrow, and I'll try to explain the...
Thank you.
And I think we need to check the number of single-family homes we have in town, too. I think it's more than 5,000.
Okay, under reports, next up reports. The only thing I have is just to wish everyone a happy Easter and happy Passover, and we had what seemed to be our first day of spring today. Let's hope it continues. Also wanted to mention that tomorrow will be the last fish fry at the Knights of Columbus at 25 North Cass. It's a great family event, so I urge everyone to come out and let's keep this warm weather rolling. And that's all I have. Clerk.
I want to remind everybody that the Village Hall will be closed tomorrow. There will be nobody here, so don't come. Stay home or go shopping or something. And wish everybody a happy Easter. And thirdly, the one thing I do want to remind all candidates out there, if I find signs in the parkway, I will remove them. I will bring them to Village Hall. I will not destroy them. So if anybody's signs come up missing, check with me. You might have had them in the parkway, and if you did, I will take them out. You cannot put them in our village right-of-way. So,
I can confirm she does it.
I do
was
do
with
it.
her. She does it.
and I do bring them here.
Is that it? Thank you. Attorney.
I just wanted to wish everyone a happy Easter. I have nothing further. Thank you.
Thank you. Manager Cyril.
Thank you. The agenda does not indicate it, but Monday, we will do the Village Climate Action Plan update. I did want to announce the budget calendar that Mayor Pro Tem Seneca referred to. Our first budget workshop will be Monday, April 8th at 6 p.m. Then we're going to have the next one on Saturday, April 13th. That'll be at 9 a.m. here at the Village Hall. And then the third one, and this will all be posted online as well, will be Tuesday, April 16th. We're going to be using the Police Department Community Room because of conflicts here in this particular room, meeting room that evening. That'll, again, be 6 p.m. And then we have a fourth workshop scheduled at this point for Saturday, April 20th at 9 a.m. here at the Village Hall. And as I said, we'll have the meeting announcements and agendas out next week so folks can see what's planned for those specific dates in terms of the topics that we're going to cover. And hopefully we will good public attendance to get input. Also wanted to mention that the finance ordinance tonight is in the amount of $749,841.31. Did you say it already?
No, I was just laughing because sometimes those numbers all mixed up.
Oh, all right. I thought I missed it.
No.
And then I just wanted to mention that we have a number of proclamations that are under the consent agenda, and we're going to have some folks here on Monday for those proclamations. And just for the public information, I wanted to mention what those proclamations are. If you haven't had a chance to read the agenda, we apologize. We had some technical problems, the way the agenda was posted. We're continuing to kind of make our way through with this vendor on some of the formatting issues on some of this stuff. But we have a proclamation on Monday for Holy Trinity Church's 75th anniversary. We have the DuPage County River Sweep program. There's an annual program that I know Trustee Nero has become very active in. I think he listed somebody, was it Trustee Mayor Pro Tem Seneca's help? Somebody else on the board volunteered, I heard,
Yes,
to get very active in this program. It really is a good program to help try to clean up the public streams, and this is done throughout DuPage County this time every year. And then the final one we have is Telecommunications Week proclamation. So those are on the consent agenda for Monday, and as I said, we'll have some folks here, well, at least for one of them, and we may talk a little bit more about the River Sweep project and program.
Great.
And that is all I have.
Is that it? Great. Trustee Evans, Trustee Scott.
Thank you. Just to announce that we're going to have an Economic Development Committee meeting next Wednesday, April 3rd, downstairs, first floor, break room, 9 a.m.
Great.
And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Klebanow.
I just want to wish everybody a blessed Easter and hope the weather cooperates soon. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Fleming.
Not at this time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, is there anything that any of the trustees would like to remove from the consent agenda for Monday? Okay, well, we'll have all of that on for Monday. Unfinished business, home rule resolution. Board to consider a resolution to request the future Board of Trustees to place a referendum on the November 2014 election ballot to return the Village of Westmont to home rule status. Comments?
Yep, I was the one that brought it up. I got no problem with saying that. There are a lot of issues that are going to become a lot clearer once the budget process is in play. And I do hope that all the candidates that are running for prospective office have done their homework, because our budget is an open book. And at any time, they can take a look at this budget and see where the funds are going, where they came from, and how the funds are used. So to just say, well, cut this, cut that, or, you can find ways to get around it, those are nice things to say, but trust me, until you sit on this side and you look at it in black and white, you're in for a big shock. I can honestly say I've been doing this for 12 years. The first several years, it wasn't too bad. I can honestly say that in 2008, it started getting bad. 2009, it got real bad, but we still were able to survive and continue. 2010, same thing, 11, 12. Now we are faced with a situation that we have lost $2.5 million in revenue into this village. And I want to caution everyone out there, residents as well, there are other avenues to gain new revenue in, but the problem with that is it will only affect residents of Westmont. It will not affect anybody that comes in from the outside. Now, I'm talking about things such as parking stickers, which I know our clerk loves those. You've heard enforcing the different codes that we have. I mean, there is a whole slew of things can be put in play as a non-home rule community in order to generate revenue. But I caution you to listen and pay very close attention to what those items may be, because it will not only affect single-family residents, but it will affect multifamily residents as well, as far as revenue generators. The reason I brought this up is because there's only two ways that this village can regain that situation. Either wait 10 years for the next census, or spend the money, which you're not going to do, to have a special census, or it goes as a referendum item in November of 2014. I would hope that the future board would take this resolution into effect and give that capacity back to this village, because it does give you some more things that you can do. I have heard comments, abuse of power. I challenge anybody to show this board where they abused their power under the home rule guides. If anything, we were extremely conservative. We did what we needed to do. We did not go overboard. And personally, as an individual sitting on this board, and I think maybe some of my fellow board members can say this, anyone that would make the comment that we abused our power as board members under home rule, I'm sorry, I take offense to that. I really do. Myself, as well as my fellow board members, two of which are not here tonight, and Mayor Ron, we have worked our tails off for this village. There's been a lot of tough decisions that had to be made. This is going to be a tough budget, and I suggest anyone who is really want to know what's going on, you attend these budget meetings and you're going to see where the money goes. You're going to understand why we're going to have to make the decisions that we're going to make. I mean, I can't sugarcoat it. I can't. I won't. There's no way that I can. And whether or not I was still going to be on this board or running for election as we're going now, I would still make the same comments that I'm making now. That's the kind of person that I am. I love this village. I've lived here for 28 years, ever since my wife and I got married. I've seen it grow. I've seen a lot of things change in this town. I hope it still continues. Two tools have been set into place right now, too. You have a new comprehensive plan. You have a TIF district in the South region. Hopefully the one in the Central region will take place, too. Those are tools to increase revenue in the future for this town. That'll also get you businesses in, other than just service industries on Cass Avenue that generate no tax revenue whatsoever, basically. You have some companies in this town that pay no sales tax whatsoever. No sales tax whatsoever on the products they sell in this town. The other side of the issue is, too, that the entire village has to be taken into account in all the decisions that are made. Yeah, we have infrastructure problems. Every town does. But every town is in dire straits right now. There's no two ways about it. And trust me, right now, in the state of Illinois, our illustrious senators and representatives are again talking on how they can cut into the sales tax revenue and cut back the amount that the towns get off of their sales tax. So, and plus, you're going to see a lot more unfunded mandates come from the state, which means the village is going to have to cough up the money, and the state says you have to do it because you have to, but you have to find a way to fund the programs. So that's why basically my suggestion was in 2 years, November 2014, that this go back on as a referendum. And honestly, if it goes back on as a referendum, I will work as hard as I possibly can to see to it that it passes. Because this town and the residents of this town deserve this. They really do. They deserve the service. They deserve what everyone has worked so hard for. And we have to take one more thing into account. It's called the progressive village. Don't let anybody take us back, no matter what. We have to keep pushing forward. That's all I
So
have.
what you're saying is, when the new board is seated and this is on the agenda, you will be at the meeting. Thank you. Any other comments? Anybody from the public? Thank you. New business. 6501 South Cass Avenue, Westmont Nursing and Rehabilitation Center, variance and site landscaping plan approval requests. Board to consider ordinances granting approval of the following request from Westmont Real Estate LLC regarding the Westmont Nursing and Rehabilitation Center at 6501 South Cass Avenue and 635 East 65th Street in the B2 General Business District. Number one, variance request to expand an existing non-conforming nursing home. Number two, site and landscaping plan approval for a 42,250 square foot nursing home and parking lot expansion. And number three, commercial masonry waiver request. And we have with us this evening.
Good evening. My name is Stephen Sussholtz. This is Douglas Barron, and I have our civil engineer, Tom McCabe, here. We're with SAS Architects and Planners from Northbrook, and we represent ownership in this matter. Is this turned on?
Yeah, it'll come on. Once,
There,
yeah.
she's got a, she'll adjust.
As you indicated in the reading of the project, this is an existing two-story nursing home dating from the 1960s. Hasn't really been updated since then. And it's on Cass Avenue and 65th. Our clients have owned this facility for some time. They now want to bring it up to modern-day standards. To do that, they would like to build an addition so that they can reduce the multi-bed rooms with 3 and 4 beds down to 2 beds. So we're proposing a new addition wrapped on the south side of the site. I wanted to show you these pictures just so you can, it relates to that request for the variance on the brick to show you this is what the existing building looks like. Brick on the bottom, this fake mansard over the top of what we believe is some sort of masonry, but there are no drawings, so we have no idea exactly what it is. And of course, the brick is 30, 40 years old, which probably can't be matched at this point in time. So our clients would like to build a new addition, as we indicated, illustrated on this plan. This is the existing building. This is a one-story building with a partial little second-floor area that would serve the residents on the second floor by providing them for additional dining, activity space, a living room, which they're very short of in this facility. Back in the 60s, they didn't think anybody needed that. There's a partial basement under this part of the building, and that provides the storage that the facility doesn't have. So it provides storage, it would provide staff lounges, it would have a mechanical, electrical room for the new addition, as well as a new laundry, which is presently in a building right about here that we're proposing to demolish. Along with doing this addition, we wanted to redo the front drive and entry of the project. As you may know, there's another driveway entrance at this point. We're proposing a single entrance off of Cass Avenue, one-way, parking, two entrances, two ways, and stormwater detention for the entire site underneath the pavement in a system called a storm trap. We're also proposing expanding the parking in the back slightly because by reconfiguring the parking, we've lost some of the parking spaces in front, and we want to replace them at the back of the building. Also under this new addition for parking up here would be another storm trap, which would be catch the storm water that's coming to the project from the parking lot, as well as helping to run the other storm water that we're getting off of the neighbors onto here and out. And then we're going to tear down the laundry room, redo this parking lot. Right now, there's parking facing right into the building, into the patient room, so they see the headlights and everything else when people pull in, and this way we pull all the parking away from the residents. When we do this addition, we end up with this nice courtyard in the middle that'll be enclosed and secure so the residents can go out there and use it, and they don't have to worry about anybody elopement or wandering off accidentally. The building elevation, last page. Thank you, Douglas. So this is what we want to do on the elevation. This is the new addition starting right here, and we want to try to tie the two buildings together. Because of the old brick and because we don't know what's under that fake mansard roof when you tear it off, we suspect it's probably concrete block because the building is masonry. We wanted to reface the masonry with an EFIS system, basically insulation with stucco on top of it. Presently, there's next to no insulation in the outside walls, so whatever we put in there helps make the building more energy efficient. And we want to tie that together with a band at the bottom, would be simulated limestone, and then EFIS or exterior insulation system on the building while maintaining the fire rating that's required under the city ordinances. And we want to do this around the entire building so that when it's done, it'll be a totally different appearing building. The front entrance is going to move to here. The old front entrance is just going to be a portico where people can sit underneath there with a fence around it. And we just want to generally improve everything. So we're here to answer any questions you may have that we can answer. My client couldn't be here because this is still a religious holiday for them. So that's why they are not here.
What's the cost of the project? Ballpark?
About $6 million plus. Maybe a little more. The underground stormwater is close to $800,000-900,000 all by itself.
Okay, and have they given any kind of idea to you, maybe they haven't, of additional employees that what they would need?
They're going to end up with the same number of beds.
Okay, so it's just going to spread out.
It's taking beds out of the old building, putting them in the new building, and
It's not increasing the number at all?
No.
Okay.
No.
I have a question for staff. I understand the variance because it's an existing non-conforming use. But, so am I to assume that all the setbacks and everything else will be
Right.
No further variance is requested at this point.
Correct. The only variance is to increase the nonconformity. They meet all the required setbacks.
It's the
Okay.
nursing home that's a nonconformity,
The-
right?
yes,
The fact that it is a
Right.
nursing home.
It's only allowed in a residential
Right,
district.
right,
So
I
that's
understand that.
That's the
Yes.
nonconformity.
Right.
We need waived to continue the business that's presently there.
Got you, yeah. Looks like a beautiful project, and I know that Planning and Zoning unanimously approved this.
Just out of curiosity, I understand the EFA system and that, very familiar with it. Now, on your new structure,
It'll still be, oh, go ahead.
my question is, what's your substrate? What are your walls actually going to be? What are you going to use for structure?
Well, I understand they have to be 2-hour rated. So,
I'm talking about your exterior structure.
yes, I know. That's what I'm getting at. It'll either be concrete block with ephes on it, or it'll be metal stud with whatever system we need to get to 2 hours.
Either one would be fine. You would get a better 2-hour rating if you used metal stud construction, though.
It kind of depends if we want to use the wall. We want to use the wall, I believe, as load bearing, so it's a question of how we do it, what's easier.
Metal studs are made for
Yeah.
load bearing.
Well, metal studs, if we go with the metal studs, we get the benefit of the insulation of the stud, because it would be a 6-inch stud, as opposed to if we go to block, then we have to put a stud behind it, then we have to put insulation back there.
Or you just apply the insulation with the substrate structure that they make now, it can be applied to the inside of the wall or the exterior of the
Right,
block.
so we have a number of options, but right now it's been priced as if it's a metal stud wall, and precast concrete over the basement, precast concrete under the floor of the second floor addition, and the rest would be bar joist and steel with a load-bearing exterior wall.
If I can ask one question. I know we constantly have this waiver for masonry. What do our codes actually say as far as the use of masonry within, because I think it's a little muddled, shall we say?
We've had that discussion and
Because
never
the
really.
majority of any construction anymore is either going to be precast in a lot of cases, or it's going to be heavy gauge metal framing. I mean,
We would have preferred, if we didn't have to deal with the other building, having a masonry exterior.
sure.
But we have to try to make the two, we don't want this to look like an addition tacked on to the end of another looking
No,
building.
that's
Which we
not what I'm
appreciate very
saying. I mean, I'm sure it will all blend together just fine. I mean, it's a beautiful project. I'm just curious as to what substructure you were going to plan on trying to use. And I understand the cost value of the two. Right now, metal's probably not the cheapest way to go. But neither is masonry, depending on who
It
you
depends
have to
what
do the
what
masonry
labor
work.
union's going to get what raise
There you
June
go.
1st.
There you go.
Right there, because you got to remember, you got your masonry and you've got your laborers both that you have to deal with.
And we don't have a lot of room to build the building on the south
you don't.
side. We have that beautiful block wall to look at.
Yeah, you do.
I have a question. When I was looking
Yes.
at the floor plans, you said you're going to the one main entry that would be facing Cass Avenue?
Correct.
Okay. Are you going to have a private entry in the backs for your patients that are coming by ambulance, or the unfortunate ones that may be getting picked up by the funeral home? Because I think it's
We have required exits from the back of the building that could
there
be
will be a-
used for that purpose, for people who have to leave. It's not to the,
coming and going for the carts.
correct, and the staff. The back parking lot is primarily for staff.
But it would be able to, would an ambulance have room to get in there when they bring a patient?
Yes, you can see right here, they have this
So
area
that's
of
the
a
one you
backup
would be
area.
using.
We've created an area to pick up the rubbish and an enclosure so an ambulance can pull in here, and there's a door right here that leads into the facility. There's also a door right here.
Okay, but the patient would be out in the elements, which is what I don't
Well,
like, but they don't have a porta.
It's just not real great when the ambulance is parked next to the front door.
I know.
And
That's what I'm trying to avoid, but it'd be nice to have a little covering for the severe weather when a patient has to come from a hospital and,
Well, we also, if you look down here, we have this is another exit from the building, and we've created this portico to work with the design. An ambulance could pull up here, go right in that entrance. You also have to work with the fire department, with the ambulances, of where they want to service the building.
Okay. I didn't know if you were having a special entry for them, so, thank you.
This would be a good entry because there's a nursing station right at that point, so it's got visual control of
But again,
that.
it's right facing Cass, which doesn't
Well, it's
always-
better than parked right by the front
That's
door.
true. That's true. They would pass
What
it.
is the timeline on this?
Well, my understanding is they want to tell us to start the construction documents this year.
Really? Great.
They're waiting for approval.
It's a substantial investment in our community. I think
Yes.
it's a good idea. I
and
like
they pay
that.
property taxes,
And I think it'll make the.
and they
patients
employ
comfortable.
people.
We like that.
And the residents will have a nicer environment to be
Yes.
in.
The going from 4 beds to 2 is going to be a
gonna be
big
wonderful.
privacy, yes.
Right.
nice.
I mean, it's difficult to take use a 3 or 4 bedroom and occupy it. People don't want to, and they don't want to do it either. So this affords them the ability to do
very
that,
nice.
provide more private rooms, greatly expand the physical therapy. Physical therapy's in a little room right now. Now they're going to have 2,000 square feet to do physical therapy. So it'll.
That one on the main floor, the section in the back that's going to be 1 story.
Here?
Is there rooms back there, or is that the?
There are rooms on this side, and there's a dining room right here
That's
facing,
what's in the blueprint.
there's a dining room and a living room facing this interior courtyard.
Is the dining room still going to stay in the old section too, so they'll have 2 dining rooms?
Yes.
Okay.
And as a matter of fact, they'll have one on the second floor as well, right about here, so that right now, there's a dining room on the second floor here, and everybody has to walk that way. Now they'll have a dining room here, and people can go this way and that way.
Nice.
And living room activity space, which they don't presently have. And doing this also frees up some space on the ground floor here that will be converted into additional activity space for the facility.
Because the last time I went to see Dawn, they actually had to convert one of the rooms to an office, that they had all these desks piled in, and it was just,
And there's no storage.
No.
No place to put anything.
It was tight quarters.
And we have like a 12,000 square foot basement, of which probably 4,000 or 5,000 are storage space,
fantastic. Yeah, I think.
with an elevator, handicap accessible.
This'll be
The
very
entire
nice.
new building will be handicap accessible, including every patient room and bathroom.
So there'll be another elevator then? on
There'll
the
be
section?
a new elevator here, which will go to the lower level and to the second floor.
Very nice.
There'll be 3 in
So
the
when you
other
come in
one?
here, you can get in the elevator, you can go upstairs if that's who you're visiting, or you can go walk down the hall.
Right.
Definitely needed.
Any other questions from the board? Anybody from the public that would like to speak on this? Okay, thank you. This will be on for Monday.
Thank you. We don't have to
Coming in.
appear, I take
You
it?
don't have to be here now.
Okay, thank you very much for your
Thank
time.
you. Item B, 1170 35th Street, Heartland Commercial Incorporated, variance and site landscaping plan approval requests. Board to consider ordinances approving the following requests from Heartland Commercial Incorporated to construct a parking lot for the Quail Ridge Office Center in the OR Office Research District. Number 1, zoning code variance to reduce the required front, side, and rear setbacks for a proposed parking lot. And number 2, site and landscaping plan approval.
Good evening. I'm Tom McCabe with Spaceco. I've got 2 things tonight, so. What we've got before you is the Quail Ridge Office Park. I think it's a good use for the property. It's at the northeast corner of the village there. This was a separate lot. It still is a separate lot. It's been attempted several things over the years to try and put there. The biggest problem with it is there's no utilities because it's up isolated, and so there's no sanitary sewer, there's no water main up there, and I think that's killed many a project here. So the people that own Quail Ridge are in need of parking, which is a good thing. They're leasing office space. They're short of parking. They've got people wanting to come to town and be in their office park. So we're trying to figure out, we did several plans for them. They looked at a parking garage, they looked at parking decks, they looked at all sorts of things. And when this lot's been sitting there, it just turned out to be a good spot for them. So what we're ending up here with is about 75 parking spots, additional parking spots for that complex. It does a couple things. It takes, currently all the traffic heads out onto Pasquinelli. It's going to take, it'll redistribute some of that parking. The office buildings, if you've been back in there, you kind of take a strange route to get back to this office building. You've got cars pulling in and out, and you're trying to drive in there and avoid, and that during rush hour, you can't get in and out. So what we're doing is we're taking, again, about 75 parking spots. They're going to come up to 35th Street. That'll take some of the pressure off the log jam at the corner, and also opens up the north side of that complex. Usually you come around that corner on 35th, and you see the pond and you see that lot, but now you're going to see a parking lot. Those offices down there we think are going to get more, be more desirable because you can pull right in, right out. We've also gone to Oak Brook. We have a permit from Oak Brook to access 35th Street. So.
Congratulations.
Thanks. So that's really it. This is with the variations here. There's a 75-foot setback off of Route 83. If you take the 75 feet, it takes at least half of the parking lot away. If we go to the other setbacks, we reduce it again. We end up with about a quarter of what we show here. The variation to the south is really because there's a property line right about here. And so this is, it's a different LLC. It's the same ownership as the rest of it. So it's a paper difference there. And so this is, I guess, similar, as we talked the last time, this is similar to over at Mercedes when we did the parking lots there, and the village owned part and we own part, and so we just put it all together to make one unified lot. So that's basically what we're doing here. So that the variations here aren't really affecting anything. You're going to see, it'd be too hard to put the setbacks in, and you wouldn't end up, again, you'd lose about that south third of the parking. So that's what the variations are. That's it. Have any questions?
Any questions from the board?
I got no problem. Thank God, something's finally going to go
Yeah,
there.
that's going to be nice. It's going to be very nice.
Very good.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One from the public wish to speak on this? Okay, great. It'll be on for Monday.
Great, thank you.
Thanks for coming in. Item C, 6320 South Cass Avenue, J.P. Morgan Chase, special uses and variances request. Board to consider ordinances approving the following requests from J.P. Morgan Chase to operate a bank in the C1 Commercial Business District. 1, zoning code variance to increase the number of allowable signs. 2, zoning code variance to increase the maximum gross square footage of signage. 3, special use permit to operate a bank with an accessory drive-in facility. 4, special use permit to operate on-premises ATMs.
Good evening. I'm Mitchell Carroll of the law firm of Freeborn and Peters, here on behalf of the applicant J.P. Morgan Chase Bank. Also present is John Krisoff. He's a real estate deal coordinator with J.P. Morgan, and Tim Messick. He's the project architect from the project, the Architects Partnership. And Tim will be giving most of the presentation. J.P. Morgan Chase is really seeking 2 special uses, one to operate a bank with accessory drive-in facilities, and another to allow for drive-in as well as an in-store ATM on premise. The variations are for the signage, looking to increase the allowable number of signs on the property, and also looking to increase the maximum square footage of the signs, as well as the size of the monument sign. The existing improvements include a 1-story bank building of about 1,200 square feet, a 5-lane drive-in facility including an ATM drive-in, 17 parking spaces, and other improvements. Chase is proposing to use the existing facilities, do some cleanup site work on the exterior, do some interior renovations of the project, and purchase the property and operate it. The property was formerly used as a bank facility with drive-in, including ATM, and the ATM is currently in operation. Tim is just going to quickly walk you through the site plan and address any questions. We'll address any questions you have. Thanks.
Good evening. My name is Tim Messick. I work with the Architects Partnership, architect of record for Chase Bank. And just want to quickly go through a brief overview of the plans. The bank is located south of 63rd, and it's one parcel off of 63rd. So we actually have the gas station at the hard corner, and we're just south of that gas station site. The main entrance of the banking center is actually facing the gas station, facing north. It's not facing Cass, so it's a little bit unique in that regard. The existing curb cuts that you see will remain as is, so we're not going to modify those curb cuts at the right-of-way. And the use of the site, previous use and the future use as a banking center, is consistent with the properties around us. So it really fits well within the framework of the existing conditions here. Next, we have a site plan showing the existing conditions of the property. It shows the 1,200 square foot banking center with the attached drive-throughs that Mitch had mentioned. We have the parking spaces, 16 spaces, one ADA space behind the facility. And we have the 5 drive-through lanes. There's a deal drawer at the face of the building. There's 3 VAT lanes for the vacuum tubes, and then the 5th lane is an ATM, which is an existing ATM. We're going to swap that out just with new equipment. The site layout does allow for adequate stacking for the drive-through, approximately 140 feet for stacking of 7 vehicles to meet the ordinance. And the other nice thing about the existing layout of the site is it has an area as you exit the drive-through where you can pull up and put away your money or your paper before pulling across the right-of-way, across the sidewalk. So it actually creates for a safe condition for any of the pedestrians that are walking along Cass Avenue. We do plan on resurfacing the parking lot, providing updated landscaping throughout, swapping out some of the trees that may be in poor condition, and then we're going to repair the trash enclosure at the back of the facility as well to make sure that that's brought up to speed. The site lighting is existing to remain. It's adequate lighting for the bank use to provide for a safe experience for the customers and the employees. So we do not propose any modifications to the site lighting. The interior floor plan, we're going to keep the existing walls and entrance to the facility existing to remain, and we're just going to have completely new finishes on the interior. We'll have new state-of-the-art equipment throughout the facility, and we will have 5 full-time employees on site. We typically hire the employees from the neighborhood surrounding the branch just to maintain that neighborhood feel and kind of that hometown type atmosphere. The bank hours are approximately 8:30 to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday, and approximately 8:30 to 3 on Saturdays, closed on Sundays. And the drive-through is open slightly before and after, approximately 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. The ATM on the 5th lane will be available 24/7. Part of our request was the variations for the signage as well. We are proposing a monument sign to be located at the front portion of the branch, and the reason for the need for that monument sign is being located one parcel off of 63rd. It's difficult to see from that main intersection. So what we're trying to do is create some visibility for the branch from the main intersection and create a safe scenario for people accessing the branch from the roadways. We're also proposing 2 wall signs. We have the main wall sign, which will be on the elevation facing Cass, which is where the original wall sign was for the previous tenant. And we are asking for a variation for a second wall sign, which is above that north entrance that faces the gas station towards the north, just so that customers realize that that is the entrance to the bank, and they kind of come around to that corner to enter in. With that, I'll close my presentation. We are available to answer any questions or concerns. Thank you.
I have a question, just it's more of a point of curiosity. I know when Fifth Third was there, I understand that the drive part on the north end that goes to the far west of the property, it's like 12 feet wide or something. And I was of the understanding that that piece of land was owned by someone other than the bank. And just curious because, you know, I thought that would never be sold because they wanted to lease it. So I just am curious as to how that all came together.
It is our understanding that Fifth Third was under contract with a lease on the adjacent 17-foot strip to the north. There are 2 existing parcels, and we were proposing, I think, purchase? Purchase both. Purchase of both parcels, so they would both be under control by JP Morgan Chase.
Right. It's not on a corner. Every Chase I've seen recently has been on a corner.
Corner sites obviously are the preferred sites. In this scenario, it's actually setting up very well with the existing infrastructure, the drive-through, and we're really just modest upgrades to really bring it up to speed. So it's a location that's very well suited for what we're looking for.
Very nice. Questions from the board?
You don't feel that it's going to interfere with the new one that you just built down on 63rd and
We were the architect on that facility as well in Downers Grove, Main and 63rd. We were also the architect for the facility in Lombard at Yorktown Mall.
But they don't feel that having it that close to 63rd and Main is going to...
No, it's really sized. The great part about this site and the size of this facility is the 1,200 square feet, the 5 employees. It's really sized for this community. And there's a need for the banking center, for the existing Chase customers that are located here in Westmont that are driving to those other facilities. And thus, as they're getting gas, coffee, doing their shopping, it might be in other communities where the Chase banking centers are located as part of their daily needs trips. So we would like to provide a facility here for the customer base that it already exists here that they don't have to travel. And what we're looking at is about a 3-minute drive time for those different nodes of communities. So this will be supplementing the other facilities, and it will not decrease any of the usage of those facilities from those communities.
And there's no way of getting entry from the gas station or, what is that, Pop-Up Sorrows next door or anything like that?
Unfortunately, right now, there are no cross-access agreements for any of the other properties. I do realize that there may be future development of this area. At that point, there's possibilities of tie-ins, but right now, none exist. And we're not proposing any cross-access agreements as part of this development.
Anything else from the board? Anything from the public? Great, this will be on for Monday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for coming in. D, extension of site development agreement. Board to consider an ordinance approving an amendment to the site development agreement for the outlot on 63rd to extend the date for certain property improvement obligations of the village. I think this is just sort of a housekeeping kind of thing. Is anybody going to speak on this?
Well, this was actually something we talked about at the last Public Works Committee meeting.
Sort of housekeeping in a way.
It was something that we received just a few weeks ago that IDOT is proposing these upgrades along Ogden Avenue.
D. D.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We're on
Sorry.
the Stratus agreement.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm completely getting ahead of myself.
Same kind of day.
This is something that we kind of briefly touched on.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is just sort of a housekeeping.
This is an extension of an existing agreement that we've had in place for approximately 5 years. I talked with the other party to the agreement late this afternoon.
So we're all good to go.
Yeah, there's some questions, some language things that we've got to work on and get clarified before Monday, but.
John Zemanek has been negotiating
Yeah.
with the other side, and
Great.
they're close to an agreement, not quite there yet.
Good.
So I talked to him late this evening, and we agreed that we have a conversation on Monday just to clarify things before the board meeting on Monday night, so.
Great. Okay. This will be
I'm
on for-
sorry, I'm
This will be on for Monday. Okay, now you can get ready, Ron.
blanking out.
E, IDOT traffic signal agreement. Board to consider an ordinance approving an agreement with the Illinois Department of Transportation,
Sorry.
IDOT, to participate in the traffic signal upgrade project on US 34 Ogden Avenue. And there's Noriel.
Good evening.
Welcome.
The IDOT traffic signal agreement is basically, they have a project up forthcoming, which is improvements along at 75 intersections along their system currently. 5 of them currently in Westmont, which is along the Ogden corridor, which is Washington, Cass Avenue, Warwick, Blackhawk Drive, Wood Drive. However, Pasquinelli is not included, but it will be upgraded as part of our Pasquinelli Drive intersection project that's going to begin mid-April, beginning of May. We have $10,000 budgeted for this project, kind of. I mean, for the past 2-3 budget years, we've been asked, we've had monies appropriated for the pedestrian countdown timer over at Blackhawk Drive alone. We've had obstacles with IDOT where we would like to improve that intersection with the pedestrian timers. However, they wanted us, as part of the permitting, upgrade the entire traffic signal, which would have was very costly. Now that IDOT is proposing this project, it's got on a large scale, 75 intersections. It actually is a cost savings to the village. A little over $6,000 is our local share. Any questions?
Questions?
No, it's, the state is paying, what, 90%? And we're paying 10, if that's what I'm reading on here?
Yes.
Yes.
So,
It's nice.
Yeah, we were a little discouraged, I think, initially with the amount of time they gave us, but once you looked at the agreement, the amount that we're going to have to contribute, and the fact that we're accomplishing some things we wanted to accomplish anyway for a much lower cost than like we were going to have to do it one time, we're kind of excited about it.
yeah, I think timing was great on it, too.
Yeah.
You know, the state's going to be putting in, what, almost 200,000, and we're only going to be putting in about just over 6. So, it's fantastic.
It's very good. Any questions or comments? Great, thank you. Noriel, we'll put this on for Monday.
Okay, I got the next item.
I think he's up again.
You're up again. Engineering agreement, supplemental services CMAQ sidewalk project. Board to consider an ordinance approving a supplemental services agreement with Burns & McDonnell for the construction PH3 engineering services for the motor fuel tax funds on the 2008 CMAQ sidewalk project.
Long project. We're approximately 99% complete. Again, it was installing public sidewalk along a long number of various roadways throughout the village. In particular, this particular area is along 63rd Street, Richmond to Ridge Road. As part of the DOT requirement, because we're working along 63rd Street, which is their right-of-way, they had requested, as part of their permit requirements, to install pedestrian countdown timers at the intersection of 63rd and Ridge. This was after the fact, after we went to bid. So with that, this agreement here is for Burns & McDonnell for their engineering to do the intersection design, put it together, and oversee the construction of this as part of the 2008. So this is a supplement to their Phase 3 engineering agreement.
Questions? Anyone? Okay, be on for Monday. Thank you. G, construction engineering services, Phase 3, 60th Street Stream Bank stabilization. Board to consider an ordinance approving an agreement with Burns & McDonnell for the construction Phase 3 engineering services for the 60th Street Stream Bank stabilization project. Say that 3 times fast.
Same project, again, as the 2008 CMAQ. If you recall, a number of years ago during design of this sidewalk along 60th Street, the culvert failed. Okay, as part of this failure, the roadway was closed due to safety issues, and the culvert actual replacement was added to the 2008 CMAQ sidewalk project. Now, because this is a grant-funded project, the difficulties of having IDOT doing the review for stormwater management was, we didn't need to have more people looking at it than we had to. It would have caused further delays. So we decided to take this, the stormwater best management practice out of that project, which is required under the DuPage County Stormwater Ordinance because we're working in a floodway in St. Joseph's Creek. So we kept that project, this portion of the project out. We constructed the culvert, we did the sidewalk, Now we're doing the stream bank stabilization portion of the project. It's a seasonal item. You don't want to install, the vegetation at high peaks of flow, and you don't want to do it when there's, dry time, otherwise the vegetation won't flourish. So we're intending to go into construction mid-May, right before the June timeframe. So this is the last of this project, and hopefully we'll finish it. So this will be for the Phase 3 construction inspection.
Great. Questions?
All I can say is we had to go backwards to go forwards.
We did. That was a long time.
This is showing state and county government at their finest. Trust me on this one.
That was a long time. Thank you. H, Professional Engineering Services Agreement, Baxter and Woodman. Board to consider an ordinance approving an agreement with Baxter and Woodman Incorporated to perform design Phase 2 and inspection Phase 3 professional engineering services related to the South Tower repainting project. It's Noriel.
Okay, as you're aware, the water tank along 63rd Street was constructed in 1994. As no maintenance really has been accomplished since then, so we're almost 20 years. Recently, we had Sprint access the tower, and they discovered that there was one of the doors. Actually, it's not our door, but it was part of the contraption for, or I guess the housing for the Sprint network up there. That door almost fell off. Safety concern. We had the item inspected, and we actually had the item fixed. So with that, we looked into it, and then the inspector did do a full water tank inspection and had discovered that, highly recommend that this tank be painted. And normal maintenance is so far with the water storage tank itself. Normal standard in the industry is a tank usually gets painted every 15 years. So this one, we're pushing 20 years now. So it is budgeted in the next fiscal year. So any of the monies that we're requesting now won't be paid until the next fiscal year. It is time-based, seasonal. We can't, once we start the painting, the water tank will be out of service. So we don't want to do this in the middle of summer. Our goal is to do it as soon as possible, which was the first opportunity would be this fall. So fall being the time that we want to, we have to work backwards. So from that point on, we have to start the engineering now, so that we can get everything designed, put together in a bid package so that we can award the contract sometime in February, not February, this fall, so that we can go into construction. The timeline for this construction is about a month, so the water tower will be out of commission for approximately 1 month during the painting. Baxter & Woodman has been the engineer for the water division facilities for a number of the last 50 years.
Now, it gets fixed inside and out.
That is correct.
So that's why it's out of service. It's not just a matter for people to understand we're painting the outside. We also have to get into the water tower.
Right.
Noriel, do you remember what the gallon capacity of that one is?
I want to say 1.5 million. This is a Mr. Ramsey question. It's 1 million or 1.5 million.
All right.
I can email you that.
That's 1.5, I think.
Yes.
1.5?
About 1.5 million.
So while that's out of service, then the water tower on 55th is going to be the main one trying to get water into that area?
And we also have the 2 ground storage tanks.
So they'll still have access, so it won't be any different.
I think it was a year, 2 years ago, we had the 2 ground storage tanks, similar scheduling. So the plant operators had to be a little bit more attentive to the demands and needs as it fluctuates throughout the day and evenings and weeks. So when we did the ground storage tanks again, we did it on the off-peak time frame.
Good.
And nobody noticed?
Plant operators knew.
That is good. That's good.
And just so the public understands, it has to be a specialty type of painting company that has to do this. It's rated by OSHA, we can't just hire a painter to come in and paint the tank inside and out. So that's why the cost is probably more than what you would
Noriel can
expect.
do a lot of things, but he
But
can't
do
paint that.
I mean, we have our grade school kids and kids paint the front of the plows during the Taste of Westmont and that. Looks fantastic, but I don't think we can
Can't
turn them
be
loose with rollers and paintbrushes. I don't think it'll work.
Put them on the side of a large
Yeah,
tank?
Yeah, no, I think there's labor laws against
that's
things
not
like
going to
that.
work.
Yeah, no.
Great. Thank you, Noriel.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. Comcast 5-year contract for 40 MB internet fiber connection. Board to consider an ordinance approving a 5-year agreement with Comcast to provide a 40 MB fiber connection to the village for internet services.
Okay, our IT manager's off this week. As you know, it's spring break for many folks. This is another example of how hard he works to try to look at ways to reduce our overall technology costs. He's negotiated this contract with Comcast, moving from XO Communications, and we're going to be increasing our speed dramatically from 10 megabyte connection to 40 megabyte connection. And even though the monthly cost seems higher, because of the increase in costs, we're actually reducing the equipment that we need to use to run the system. And overall, it will be a budget reduction because of that. And I believe the contract's been reviewed by the attorney, and everything is okay with that.
Yes. It appears that right now we're using XO Communications, and we actually supplement with Comcast modems at this point.
Right.
So there's that addition there, and we will only be with Comcast at this point.
Right. We've historically had Comcast as a backup. This is a significant upgrade on their product side for business, and we will be moving, away from XO.
Right.
Great. Trustee Nero did have a question on this. He wondered he wondered two things. If we have an out of this contract, his concern or thought process is with the rapid rate the technology is improving. Are we locking ourselves into a contract where, we're stuck with 40 and maybe 3 years from now, everybody else has 60? So that was a concern for him, and I don't know that question has to be answered tonight. Maybe Glenn will be back on Monday when Steve is here, but he wondered if we had an out, if that would be the case.
That's a very good question. There's a termination provision in here. It can be terminated by either party upon 7 days written notice.
Oh.
If I'm reading no, I'm reading it wrong. Sorry. Hard time tonight.
Could be that you're tired.
A little bit.
Yeah, it could be.
Earlier, I was thinking about something on the previous item. That was my only excuse. No, we'll get an answer for you on Monday.
Okay.
I don't
What
know.
was the other
Steve will be back.
You said there were two questions?
Yeah, there was one other one?
Could we get out of the contract, or is it wise to go 5 years, given the rapid rate of improvements in technology?
Gotcha.
Put in there a possible situation, step up, talk to
So he can-
technology increases.
He can
then-
address it on Monday, I'm sure, but just
What you
to
need.
throw that thought out there for Glenn to be thinking about.
I'm sure there's a way to get out of it. It's a question of how much it costs.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
if it costs.
I think the
But,
XO contract was approximately 5 years in length as well.
Was it?
Yeah.
So it's about that time
Okay.
where I think we have to move up as far as speeds and equipment is usually that 5-year time frame.
Great, okay. Any other questions or comments on this? We are to miscellaneous. I don't think there's anything under miscellaneous tonight unless someone has something they would like to bring up. No executive session, so with that, we will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move, Scott.
Second.
Roll call.
Trustee Scott?
Yes.
Trustee Klebanow? Yes. Trustee Fleming?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sinek?
Yes. Happy Easter.